Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Aishwarya, a registered homeopathic physician. Today I'll be reacting to a video that makes several claims about homeopathy. I believe in open scientific discussion, so instead of getting emotional or defensive, I'm going to go point by point and address misconceptions with clarity, logic, and proper context. Let's get into it. So this video is called Homeopathy Explained, Gentle Healing or a Reckless Fall. It's uploaded 7 years ago and has pretty good views. So let's watch this together and see what it has to say.
Potentization. The idea is that diluting and agitating the ingredients activates their curative powers and enhances their effect. To do this, the ingredient is dissolved in alcohol or distilled water. Homeopaths take 1 part of the solution and mix it with 9 parts of water, diluting it down to 1/10 of its original concentration and shaking it. What you have now is a 1x potency, 1 part ingredient and named after the Roman numeral X for 10. Now this process is repeated. Take 1 part, mix it with 9 parts of pure water and shake it vigorously. Now you have 2x. You do this again and again until you reach the desired grade of potency.
Okay. So the video oversimplifies homeopathic preparation by saying it's just diluting and shaking. That's inaccurate. We do serial dilutions, not random dilutions. Plus dilution alone does nothing. The process is called potentization, as he says in the video, but it includes serial dilution and succussion, both done in standardized regulated way. So each step follows a specific mathematical ratio such as 1:10 decimal. Example, it produces 1x or 2x potency, or 1:100 centesimal. Example, 1C or 2C potency, or 1:50,000, which is called as LM potency or the Q scale. So these are prepared with exact counted strokes, like 10, 40 or 100 strokes, depending on the scale we need to prepare, with control force and standardized techniques, which is done in clean, standardized pharmaceutical conditions. That is why calling it shaking is misleading. Ordinary shaking does not meet the defined parameters. According to standardized texts, potentization is intended to activate the medicinal properties of the substance through repeated mechanical energy input, transforming it to kinetic energy, described as pharmaceutical transformation. Physics. So calling homeopathy as just dilution and shaking is like calling surgery just cutting and stitching. Okay, now let's move to the next part.
Is that shaking the mixture after every dilution leaves behind a spirit-like essence of the ingredient. Basically, the idea is that water remembers what was put into it. But if this were true, then every substance that ever met a drop of water would leave an essence behind and lead to unpredictable effects when it was accidentally ingested. Think of all the stuff that lives and floats in the oceans. Every sip of water would be a supercharged homeopathic cocktail.
Alright. The video says that shaking and diluting somehow releases the essence of a substance and compares it to water memory. Even making a joke showing the toilet water or ocean per se would become a supercharged remedy. See, homeopathic potentization is not based on water memory, and it's not the idea that molecules magically come out and float around. Here's the real science part. So we all have heard of Avogadro's number. What is Avogadro's number? I'll keep it simple in this video. Avogadro's number represents how many molecules are present in 1 mole of a substance. In homeopathic preparations, beyond dilutions like 12C or 24X, you statistically cross the Avogadro limit, meaning there are no bulk molecules of the original substance that are expected to remain. To simplify, beyond a certain dilution, individual molecules of the starting material are not detectable under a microscope, which is pure chemistry, and we homeopaths acknowledge this. But homeopathy as a system is not built on the presence of bulk molecules and high potencies. The process of potentization likely changes the physiochemical properties of the solution or solvent, which has not yet been fully explained or mapped by current scientific tools. And current scientific tools do not fully describe what these changes are, but research do exist on nanoparticle formation in low-mid potencies, changes in hydrogen bonding patterns of the solvent, structural clustering under mechanical stress, succussion-induced cavitation phenomena. So homeopathy is not equal to water memory theory. So why is homeopathy always tagged with water memory theory? The water memory theory was a controversial hypothesis produced by Jacques Benavente in 1988. Mainstream homeopathy does not rely on this theory to justify its approach. That's it. No water memory, no essence floating around, no stool water remedies. Hence, random environmental water cannot become a homeopathic medicine because it does not undergo the sequential pharmaceutical process described in the pharmacopoeia. Okay, so next part.
Hahnemann imposed very strict rules on his patients. First, you had to avoid coffee, tea, alcohol, spicy food, sweet food. No old cheese, no onions, no meat. No clothes made from sheep's wool, but also no sedentary work, no sitting inside in stuffy air, no warm rooms, no riding horses, no napping, no playing games, no masturbation, and of course no reading pornographic texts, and many more. Then,
Alright. The video says Hahnemann restricted patients from things like masturbation and compares it to homeopathy being unscientific. Let's clarify this with facts. You will not find such rules in standard modern homeopathic literature. Any historical comments made in the 1700s or early 1800s need to be understood in the context of old medical culture and not through homeopathic pharmacy. Now, let me address the real part, the lifestyle advice. Homeopathic remedies are absorbed lingually. Remedies are kept on the tongue, not swallowed. Absorption is through the oral mucosa and superficial nerve endings. Second, the strong sensory stimuli can temporarily interfere. For instance, caffeine, menthol, camphor, eucalyptus, and strong essential oils are known to cause temporary mucosal desensitization, alter taste or smell receptor sensitivity, stimulate the central nervous system, overpower mild remedies during drug administration. This is a plausible pharmacological precaution. This is why most homeopathic practitioners advise avoid coffee, avoid camphor-based balms, avoid very strong mints, avoid heavy perfumes on the days you administer doses. So why do patients get diet restrictions like avoid spices and garlic? This is not homeopathy specific. Avoiding spices is a standard medical advice for conditions like gastritis, GERD, mouth ulcers, hemorrhoids, or piles. Any gastroenterologist will say the same. So these are condition-specific diet modifications, not homeopathic philosophy. Okay, let's check out the next claim.
but the most powerful tool of homeopathy is time. Our bodies are survival machines. Infections pass on their own after a few days. But if you take some remedy when you already feel sick and then start getting better, it feels like it did indeed cure you, while actually it would have happened.
So the video says that homeopathy looks effective only because most infections are self-limiting and get better in 7 days anyway. So this argument is only partly true, but also partly incorrect. Yes, some acute illnesses are self-limiting. For example, many viral colds resolve in a week, regardless of treatment. No disagreement there. But that logic cannot be generalized to all of homeopathy and is scientifically weak. Number 1. Many clinical conditions are not self-limiting and patients often seek homeopathy when they need more support and symptom management. This includes conditions that last months or years, not just days. You can't attribute these improvements to 7-day cycle. Number 2. Homeopathy has published case reports and observational studies in peer-reviewed journals documenting its uses in various acute and chronic conditions. So these people do not claim magical cures, they simply present clinical observations the same way early modern medical literature did for many therapies. You can look up those case reports published by Professor George Vitholkas and team. They're publicly available in academic journals. I'll also link them in my description. Number 3. If everything improved automatically, then chronic diseases like migraine, eczema, IBS, PCOS, autoimmune diseases, or long-term anxiety wouldn't need years of treatment anywhere. But they do. And homeopathy is used worldwide precisely because the chronic conditions often respond well to individualized care over time. So yes, some illnesses are self-limiting, but using that to dismiss all of homeopathy oversimplifies the entire field. Let's continue further.
Some critics even argue that the homeopathic industry is bad for public health because it creates distrust in proven medicine.
Okay. So the video says homeopathy is bad for public health because it supposedly creates distrust in proven medicines. That's factually incorrect, and it shows a misunderstanding of how homeopathy is practiced today. Homeopathy is not anti-medicine. Every responsible practitioner I know, including myself, encourage patients to take emergency care, life-saving interventions, and follow standard medical investigations. Now let's address the science part. One of the strengths of homeopathy is that homeopathic medicines are tested on healthy human volunteers through structured recording of symptoms, and these are called as provings. This is unique because it is one of the few systems where the initial understanding of the substance is documented directly through human responses rather than extrapolated from animals. That's not anti-science. It's actually more aligned with how modern pharmacology eventually validates medicine, which is on humans. And importantly, homeopathy is used globally alongside mainstream medicine. Millions of patients worldwide use it for chronic issues, symptom management, and long-term support, not because they distrust medicine, but because they want a complementary low-risk option. So no, homeopathy does not create distrust in proven medicine. Irresponsible advice does. Next.
Belief in homeopathy correlates with skepticism about vaccinations. This can discourage people to seek the help they need when their lives or the lives of their children are on the line.
Okay. The video says that homeopathy encourages vaccine skepticism and puts children's life at risk. That's simply not true and honestly a very lazy stereotype. Let me be clear. Now, a lot of patients come with their own questions, fears, and personal opinions regarding vaccine because vaccines have been a topic of public debate for decades all across medical systems. That's not something homeopathy created. Our role as practitioner is to give balanced factual information, encourage patients to follow standardized medical advice, ensure children get the care they need, and still offer homeopathic support for their overall chronic symptoms when appropriate. On the day of vaccination, we usually avoid giving any lingual homeopathic medicines simply to prevent overlapping stimuli. This is a scheduling choice. Plus, vaccine hesitancy isn't a homeopathic problem, it's a global social issue. Okay, so we are at the last part of the video. Let's check it out.
The first consultation with a homeopath can take hours and is very personal. For a patient who's already been on a pilgrimage from doctor to doctor, this level of attention and empathy can make a huge difference to their well-being, even if the conversation was not the point of the therapy. As important as empathy is, it's not a substitute for actual treatment. Faith can move mountains, but sugar water can't cure cancer.
Okay, now the video says homeopaths impress patients by simply giving them more time, and that's what hooks them. Okay. Yes, we do spend more time, but not because we are trying to charm or emotionally trap someone. It's because homeopathic case-taking itself is a detailed, structured process. A proper case-taking includes understanding physical symptoms, studying the pattern, triggers, modalities, evaluating mental-emotional responses, exploring past illnesses, family history, and tendencies, identifying individual predispositions. This is not casual conversation or rapport building. It's part of a very methodical approach to understand the pattern of illness in that person. Spending time is a necessity, not a tactic. Homeopathy is individualized medicine. So, 5 patients with migraine may receive 5 different prescriptions. 10 patients with eczema may have 10 different root patterns. One person's symptoms may be on the mental plane first, another patient's symptoms may be on the physical first. Some have acute triggers, some have chronic predispositions. Case-taking is literally a separate academic subject in homeopathic education with structured methods, fixed principles, and years of training. Communication is not equal to placebo. Spending time builds rapport. Yes, but that is true in all medical systems. Even oncologists, psychiatrists spend long counseling sessions. So using time spent as a criticism of homeopathy is illogical. Any homeopath will tell you if case-taking were only about making patient feel heard, we wouldn't need years of study, repertories, and complex analysis tools. So yes, patients do feel heard, but that's not why they improve. They improve because the remedy is selected after a very specific, detailed process, not just because we spend time talking. spending time was good enough to heal people, every long conversation would be a medical treatment, right? And the last part, sugar pills don't cure cancer. That's a claim I'd like to address in my next video. Stay tuned. Okay, so that sums up our video reaction, and these were the 7 major misconceptions that needed to be clarified. My goal here isn't to fight or attack the original creators. My intention is simply to bring accuracy, nuance, and proper scientific context from a trained homeopathic doctor's perspective. If you found this helpful, let me know in the comments and feel free to suggest the next video you want me to react to. Thank you for watching.